welcome to the podcast. That podcast, of course, is Friday Night Deploys with us, the Dev Plebs. My name is Keith. That's right, I'm starting it this week. You have a problem? Complain about it. And I'm joined by Her Majesty's Secret Service, Philip Tejan. Say hi, Phil.
You alright, mate?
I said hello.
You alright?
All right. Is that how you say hello
that's
in
usually
Britain?
that's what everyone does. They just nod and go, you alright?
Yeah, straight out of Brighton.
Yeah. Straight out. That's a false that's not fact.
Close enough.
Yeah, it is close enough. That's usually my geographical point when anyone asks where I used to live, because I don't like explaining or trying to explain a town and then a bigger town and then a city.
Yeah, I mean, I get the same thing for where I grew up.
That's true.
You know, you just pick the area closest that people might know and pray for the best.
Yeah, and then it
hope that
sucks.
they don't know where you're from, because where I'm from does suck.
Yeah, but then like it always sucks because it has a chain from it. You go, hey, do you know this place? And they go, no. And you go, okay, well, how about this place? And they go, no.
And eventually
Like,
you just get to the country.
Yeah,
you're like, Canada?
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Canada. And you
sounds familiar.
Go north from there, and then eventually you'll find where I used to live.
Excellent. Yeah, so episode 3, how hyped are you?
I'm super hyped. I couldn't be more hyped than I already am now. How are you? Are you hyped?
You sound incredibly hyped.
Yeah.
You're so full of energy
I know.
this afternoon.
I'm so hyped for I'm ready to do some hype-driven development.
Hey, throwback to episode 2.
Yeah.
If you didn't listen, you have time.
You can go back.
Episode 2 was a good one. It was a real good one.
I like
in
episode
my
2.
honest opinion.
It's the best one.
It is the best.
It's the best episode of the Friday Night Deploys.
It's true. And we're about to make it a trilogy. So, let's try and wrap this up in a nice, sexy package.
Ooh, that sounds good to me. Just put a bow around us two combined, and then you got it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming. And for the small price of $79.99, you can have the Dev Plebs for Christmas.
Attached with a bow.
Yes. What a terrible Christmas present.
What terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so before that gets too weird, why don't we just move on to the wins of the week? Because I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This is the second time recording episode 3. The first time it was a mixed bag.
We tried something new to hopefully improve it, but then it ended up shooting back at us and killing us.
In killing us. We both died.
Yeah.
And
now we're back.
Yeah. I think also one of the main problems was it was an hour and 40 minutes, and I just looked at that and I was like, good God, I do not want to edit this beast.
It was an hour and 40 minutes, and we didn't end the show until it was like 11 p.m. or something.
I was literally falling asleep at the microphone.
So we were very tired. First, it started off really dull, and then at the halfway point, we found this second win, and then things got really weird.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it. We went to some dark places.
Yeah.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Yes, it is, and maybe when we have a premium feature, we'll just hey, here's the dark version.
The 18-plus Dev Plebs podcast.
It's the shadow world of the Friday Night Deploys.
Friday late night deploys.
Exactly. Friday Night Wet Noises.
That was it.
That'll be the first episode for that one.
All right, so you get prepared for that.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I don't want to make any promises.
How many failed podcast episodes do we have so far?
4. We have more failed podcast episodes than successful ones. So
I mean, I think that's in the spirit of the title Friday Night Deploys, I think.
That's true. There's no guarantee that this podcast is going to turn out either.
Exactly.
But we're going to try our best this episode.
I think we got it.
I think so.
It's not 11 p.m. today. So we're full of energy.
We are.
And it's Friday.
And it is actually Friday.
It's actually
this time.
Friday this time.
So, you know what? Another little secret I'll let you in on.
Rest in peace, Keith.
We generally record on Wednesday because I'm slow at editing, and it usually takes me 2 days.
I wouldn't even say that you're necessarily slow at editing. Is that we're still so new at this that our raw recordings are so terrible.
Don't tell them that. We are charming and lovable.
And witty.
And for $79.99, you can have us this Christmas morning.
We're ready to bring them back to that, huh?
Yeah, already
Okay.
back to that.
Yeah, you'll see us in QVC soon.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's what a great reference.
Yeah. Should we jump into the wins?
We should because, that's the next step.
Yeah. It's the next step to making it not an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, that's true. How many wins do you have this week? Hopefully less than the last time we recorded this episode.
That was 35. So this time, I only have 3.
All right. Number 1.
Number 1.
I feel like I'm like Watch Mojo right now. We're doing like a top 10.
We got to feature a celebrity on to count down for us one day for our list then.
Yeah, I mean, would you really consider... I'm not going to say that. I don't want to get on Watch Mojo's bad side.
Yeah, it's not. They have a lot of power on the internet right now.
They're a big player in the YouTube top 10 list.
If we want to show up in their top 10 podcast list, we have to say, I love Mojo. It's the favorite top 10 list YouTube channel I've ever seen.
And they're definitely listening right now.
Oh, definitely.
They're always
Mr.
looking
Mojo.
for more content.
Mr. Mojo is listening.
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Mojo.
Yeah. Actually, it's Miss Mojo.
Oh.
That's an actual YouTube channel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
it is. All right, I forgot about that one, yeah.
But yeah, so they're definitely listening because they're always looking for new content because they upload like 5 or 6 of those videos a day.
That's what you gotta do. Just keep pumping out content.
That's true. That's the secret.
That's what we're trying to do. Pump out content.
We're not doing a great job.
No, we're doing a really bad job.
We have like a once a week piece of content. We need to... The trick is, just produce as much content as possible. Just throw it out into the world, and then eventually someone will consume it.
We could just split up our podcast episode into 5-minute intervals, and then we can just release like
4 times a day.
Exactly.
Just the next 5 minutes.
And we can monetize on everything after the 5th part. We can be like, oh, if you want to listen more, you gotta buy the extra 5 minutes. People won't hate that at all.
This episode brought to you by Squarespace is what I will say when they are a sponsor.
They're not. To clarify, they are not.
Nope. But I will actually just use that audio snippet. I'll just cut it and paste it when they eventually are. Because I know they've been sniffing around.
We're ready.
We are. Wins. Number 1.
Win number 1. Here it is. I released my 3rd entry in my series, Let's Take a Look at CSS and JS with React. On dev.to? Is that what we'll say? Dev.to or dev.to? Or just dev?
I just call it devto.
Devto.
Yeah, I think that's what it...
Okay,
I think that's
devto.
how you pronounce it.
Okay, devto. So yeah, I released that recently this week on devto.
I'm glad that we're going to commit to this.
Yeah, we are going to commit to this. And that was cool. I'd been meaning to do it. I started the series, I think, back in September. And I did the first 2 entries, I think 2 weeks apart from each other. And then I just took a lull before the 3rd one, which is a shame because that was the one I was most excited for. I took a little bit extra time going deeper into it, but I also took some time off of writing for a little bit anyway. But I released it, and it looks like it's the one with the most views so far out of all my posts on DevTo. And it makes me happy. There's been some really nice comments on it, and in every single entry I've tried to end it by being like, hey, I would love to get a comment, someone to give me a recommendation for one of them to look at, or something that's not the popular ones to look at, and then I'll totally take a look at it and make a post about it. And finally, this one, on the last one, someone commented on, and it was really great because they didn't just comment a random one; they commented one specifically that they had created.
And that's
on
great.
GitHub. And
that one was you can say the name.
Yeah, it's called Goober.
I love it.
I love the name.
Yeah.
I haven't taken a deep look into it yet. I've read the README and the description that he gave me. The cool thing is that it looks like it uses the same styled API that Emotion Styled and Styled Components uses, but it's 1 kilobyte.
That's a tiny little library.
Which sounds tiny. So I need to. I didn't write down his name. I really should have written down his name.
It's okay. You can record his name later.
Yeah, we'll record later, and then we'll just
send it, and I'll cut and paste.
Shove that in there.
His name is
Christian Boat from Romania.
Perfect. Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
That
good
worked
job.
out really well.
I'm definitely gonna check that out. Look forward to that if you listen to the podcast.
I
hope you
will
are.
use it solely because it's called Goober. Because I want to type in my terminal npm install Goober.
It'd be so good.
It's too good.
I'd love for someone to just see it in the package, like, what? But that's really good. So that was cool. It was a lot of good reactions, a lot of good comments, a lot of... DevTow has to have the most positive community I've ever been a part of in the development industry, I guess. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
The development industry?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some toxic stuff out there, but DevTow seems to just have mostly positive. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I do love it. I haven't read your newest article yet.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I'm not a good friend nor podcast partner.
Yeah, this is the last episode
This
now.
is it. The trilogy is over. We'll reboot it, though,
Yeah,
eventually.
we will. We can reboot it.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty good win.
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
liked
for
it.
you. I'm happy you finished it. I'm happy that you had some time to let your creative juices reset
I did.
and you're back to the old pad and paper. Wait, those are the same thing. The pen and paper.
Yeah, the pen and paper.
Like,
No,
obviously-
yeah.
yeah.
Let's keep it at pad and paper. I
Yeah.
like that. It's got 2 pieces of paper, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm writing.
That's
what
what
are you
took
doing?
you so long to finish this
Yeah.
article. You're like, I don't understand how this works.
How is this working? Is this an
yeah.
action or a reducer? I don't understand.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah,
Number 2.
Second one, I trademarked it in my notes to be I found my Gatsby groove, but no, I'm gonna keep using it.
Yeah, just do it.
So yeah, I've been grooving around with Gatsby.
Oh, God, never mind. I take it back.
So in a long-awaiting website that is eventually going to come out,
It's definitely coming.
yeah, that we're building with Gatsby. And I've built a few things with Gatsby before we were building this. And I've built out like a little theme and a starter, and I've built my portfolio with Gatsby. I think almost everyone at this point has built a portfolio in Gatsby.
It's a rite of passage.
It is. And I don't know, it's a React framework. Well, sorry, a framework that uses React, I guess. It's a framework that I find I don't have to fight with while using it. Things just kind of work. Like it's fairly opinionated compared to something like Next, but I don't have any arguments necessarily with its opinions on how to do things. Like, I mean, like, or no meaningful arguments. I'm like, yeah, sure, that sounds like a fine idea to me. I'll just do that way. And
It's kind of like Dan Abramov. You know, anything he says, I'm like, yeah.
yeah, you're right, Dan. Danny boy.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan.
Shout out to Dan if you're listening. He's definitely not. We recently got a notification today of someone following us on Twitter, and his name was suspiciously close to Dan Abramov.
I have to pull that up. Do you remember where I sent that to you on?
It was in our Messenger thread, I think. Yeah.
Right. His name and
Shout out.
It's not. Yeah. Shout out to this guy. And honestly, it's not really even that close. But like when you briefly glance at the notification, so his name is Denis Anisimov, but his Twitter handle is dbanas. You want to try that?
Yeah, we're gonna butcher it. Sorry, Dan. No, Dennis. See, I'm already mistaking it. Dennis. No, Dbanismov. Dbanismov?
Yeah. But
Sorry, Dan.
Again, yeah,
Sorry,
sorry.
Dennis.
I know he's listening right now.
Yeah.
So.
He might be.
He might actually. There must
This
be
might
some
be the
reason
fir-
he's
yeah, this
following
might
us
be
on
the
Twitter.
first
But
one.
yeah, upon first glance, it really looked like Dan Abramov, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
He also followed me on Twitter as well as
so
the Dev
famous.
Plebs.
Oh wow, he didn't follow my personal account.
I should have never told you that.
Wow.
I told him not to do that.
All right,
I told him not to follow you.
I'm taking that shout out back until Dennis follows my personal account.
At least I'm pretty sure I saw the notification that he followed me on my Twitter. But yeah. Thanks, Dennis. That should be a win for both of us.
yeah,
really.
it really should. We'll just sign off every podcast thanking Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis. Yeah, we can do that.
He's the real MVP.
The real MVP. Yeah,
Not
shout
the
out.
real Dan Abramov, though.
Yeah, if you want to, that's an easy way to get a shout out. If you just follow us on Twitter for like until the episode gets recorded, then you can unfollow us if you want, and then you can refollow us again, and you'll just keep getting shout outs.
Yeah. Maybe we should have some kind of segment for that. Either way.
I have it in our structure, but no one's getting it. But maybe that'll change this episode. Who
yeah,
knows?
this is going to catch on. We have had over 100 downloads on our podcast.
That's good.
So...
I do have one person to do a shout out for other than Dennis, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, but I'll bring it up when it gets to that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Third win.
Wait, you didn't finish the Gatsby.
Did I not? I mean, I
Oh.
don't know. Gatsby's really cool and it's opinionated in a way that I have fun. I have actual fun making a little website with it. And
But
it's
how did
cool.
you get your groove? What?
I just started messing. I don't know. I had taken a little bit of a break making any side projects with Gatsby, and then when we started working on our project, and I was just kind of setting up the source plugin, or at least the sort of source area. It's not. I haven't built a plugin yet. I just made the changes in the Gatsby node file to pull in data that we needed and implement it into the data layer that Gatsby has, which is a GraphQL data layer. And I don't know. It just felt fun. It was nice doing it, and I like the way that Gatsby segments its page queries, or like the way you can insert queries for your page components.
That's so informative.
Yeah. So if anyone's familiar with those technologies, they'll make sense. If you're not, then sorry.
Sorry.
But this is a web development podcast. So we
That's
have to
true.
keep it balanced.
Speaking of Gatsby, did you see their news yesterday
I did.
about Gatsby Cloud?
Yeah, Gatsby
That's-
Cloud. That
yeah.
looks cool. I like that. And they claim that in the Gatsby build, which is coming soon still, that it should help reduce times to build the Gatsby stuff. So
And that's great because once you start having a lot of data sources to pull in, that build process can get pretty chunky.
it gets pretty big. And I have one Gatsby project that does take a ton of data. Too much that I mean, even with the increased build times, I should still reduce what it's taking in. But yes, it can get long if you misuse their source stuff.
All right. Well, now that you've told us about how you got your Gatsby groove back trademarked,
Grooving with Gatsby.
groovin' with Gatsby. If you want to buy that trademark slogan,
Gonna cost you.
$79.99.
Yeah.
All right. So now you can move on to Win 3.
Okay, yeah.
I
Win
give
3.
you permission.
This one's quicker. My daughter's gotten good enough at a game called Ukulele on the Xbox Game Pass in the spirit of Banjo-Kazooie. She's gotten good enough at it that she can more or less play it by herself. And she's 3, or 3.5, and that's pretty cool. I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although it sounds a little more like her win than yours.
Yeah, but as a parent, you get the satisfaction of feeding off of your children's wins. Any accomplishment they have, you can always play the card of like, yeah, well, it was kind of like a joint effort. I mean, like, you wouldn't be here if I didn't help make you and let you eat dinners and stuff. Because that was all me.
You know, that's I guess a point.
Yeah. You could make up for my failures in life, and you can make up for me not accomplishing what I could have.
I assume that's what every parent wants.
Yeah, because I'm terrible at ukulele. I wish I was a pro ukulele player, but now she could become a pro ukulele player.
Is that your rock bottom in life?
Yes.
Is that you just never got good at ukulele?
I got good at ukulele.
It's like the person that we played football in high school, and they're like, I could have gone pro.
Yeah. But I busted up my ACL.
Yeah, it's always the ACL.
It is always the ACL. It's such a weak point, right?
Yes.
I don't know what the ACL is. It's just an acronym.
I think it's behind the knee. We are medical experts on the show.
Yes.
You can take our word as truth. We are well-educated doctor folk.
Dr. Folk.
Yeah.
Shout out to the last episode.
Yeah.
Dr. Folk Dick.
Richard. Yeah. Dr. Richard.
Richard, my man.
Shout out to Richard.
Shout out to Richard.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's fun.
Good wins.
Thank you. What about, did you win today, or did you just win today? Did you win this week, or did you just lose this week?
I won.
Okay, good. I was going to say, don't ever show your face around there again. But
Whatever. Yeah, no, I had a couple wins this week. Would you like to know them?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I
Tony
have
Fell.
exactly 2.
Okay. I'm counting. 1. Win number 1 from Keith Brewster.
So, win number 1 is for like the last, I don't know, maybe month or 2. I wasn't really doing a lot of coding on the side outside of my full-time work. I mean, a lot of that was due to like trying to get this podcast up and started. I was investing a lot of time in that, and I don't know, I just kind of needed a little bit of a break. But I have been doing some stuff on the side now. And like obviously I worked on the site a little bit. The
Yes.
site that's definitely coming.
Yeah, it's not just me. It's a joint effort.
Yeah. The site that it is definitely coming. Although once it eventually comes, We won't have this as a joke anymore.
We'll have to find a new unobtainable goal.
Without ongoing jokes, this podcast is meaningless.
This podcast is a joke.
Oh! Well, that's not nice. We don't get any comments, so it's important for us to give ourselves bad comments.
Yes.
To keep us humble.
This goes straight to our head.
Yeah. It's, ever since I started a podcast, I've just had this huge ego.
Yeah, just we're gonna go, oh, did you hear me on the radio? Well, it's kind of like the radio, but,
I get home and my wife has made dinner, and I just throw the plate against the wall. I'm like, you think a famous podcast host eats spaghetti?
Did you see how many listens we got this week? Did you?
I think we did okay this week.
Okay, we're good. Cool.
We had one new follower on Spotify.
One new follower?
One new follower.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Anyways, yeah. So I've been doing a little coding on the side, and it's been nice because it's been a while, and I've found that passion. I found my Gatsby groove.
You found your Gatsby groove,
but not in Gatsby.
Yeah.
I've been using something called Ink.js, which is, I guess, someone was looking at a terminal one time, and they're like, what would be great if I could run a React app in the terminal.
That's what every developer or web developer is asking when they look at something.
They're just like, why can't I write JSX in my terminal?
How do I put React in this, though?
That's true. And, I feel so that's just the JavaScript way. Like, everyone always just looks at things and like, why can't I make it JavaScript?
Yeah. It's everywhere else. Why can't I put it in here?
Yeah. So it's just been a fun little project, making like a CLI app. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to spoil what it is yet because I need to save that as next week's win.
Or it's because it's going to cost you.
Or it's because I'm never going to finish it.
$79.99.
Oh yeah, $79.99 for my new CLI app. It's worth every penny.
You should start a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe for it.
I should.
Help Keith finish his Ink.js project.
I just really need the motivation, and I'm only motivated by money
it's weird.
and food.
I just need money. No.
Two things. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Not ambition, not goals. Just money and food.
We make millions off of this.
I'm not sure why we haven't made millions yet.
Yeah, I'm still waiting. So
there's that ego talking
still
again.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
For Spotify to give me money.
Yeah, so that's been fun.
That's good. I'm excited to see, because I don't know what it is actually either. You haven't told me what it is, so we're all in the dark.
Yes.
So
more details coming soon. It's honestly just a really small project. It's not very exciting at all.
Wow.
So please do not get your hopes up.
Well, now I don't care anymore.
That's good. That's how I approach life in general. I don't care.
Keep that bar low. Like the podcast.
Ever since I hit my 30s, I just wake up. I'm just like, I don't care.
It's like a teenager again.
Yeah, this is Friday night depression with the dev plebs. Friday night existential crisis.
Yeah, there we go. I like that one better. Right. What's your second win?
My second win is I've been messing around with the new experimental React features.
Such as?
Suspense and concurrent mode.
That sounds cool.
It is cool because my new job with you.
With me, don't forget that.
Yeah.
With me.
I can't forget it. I have to sit beside you every day.
We sit next to each other too, which is just fantastic.
I just can't get away. They really encourage self-improvement. So they have this sort of nice benefit.
Shout out to CBC.
We've never actually told anyone that.
We know, but it's you could find it easily.
You could. But that would involve effort.
It's in my Twitter.
I don't know if it's in my Twitter. I don't think it is in my Twitter. I tweeted about it, but...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
And anyways, so they really encourage self-improvement, and they give 20% a week into just self-learning. Obviously there's limitations. Like, it has to be...
It has to be relevant.
Yeah, it has to be relevant. You can't just, learn how to...
You can't learn how to start a podcast for your 20%.
Yeah.
Unless, CBC, if you're listening, if you would like Friday Night Deploy as part of your podcast list, that'd be great. We'd have an actual studio.
It's true.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
One can dream.
Yeah, so in my 20% time, I have been, learning the new experimental APIs because, while we're in this kind of big push to realign a lot of our current methods of doing things, I think the stuff we're doing right now would fit really well within that new suite of APIs that we'll be dropping. So as long as we can kind of position ourselves to be in a good spot when they release, and then, you could eventually just phase over to them.
Yeah.
Because... Yeah.
We can get there.
Because honestly, like, I'm not like the kind of guy that, like, when something new drops, I'm like, we have to refactor everything.
No nonsense. We do. That's exactly what you need to do.
Because I think if something's stable, then there's no reason to, wipe it all out. I mean, you could make an argument for, like, developer satisfaction, because we all like new shiny things, but like the old adage says, if it ain't broke, don't put hooks everywhere.
That's what I'm doing right now.
If it ain't broke, don't put hooks in.
Don't put hooks in.
At the same time, I think there is a lot of things to take advantage of with those APIs. So I would be interested in making that happen.
Yeah, and our team specifically is the one who is in a position to try and push like new what's the word I'm looking for? New
metal.
Yes, new metal to the pedal to the metal.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We can set the we can set the bar for like what should be and maybe what shouldn't be, what could be expected in standards and stuff. And our team's gotten bigger now, even with you on board too now. And there's plenty.
Are you body shaming me?
Yes, it's gone a lot bigger because
it's probably increased by like 215 pounds. I'm not 215 pounds.
215 pounds of body fat from Keith.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's enough people on other teams who are itching for improvements and change and stuff. So I think we're going to be in a good position as we go forward to make those happen.
Good words.
Good words.
I liked those.
Hey, those are some good words you got there. I'm going to use that now.
High five, champ.
High five, good words.
I like it. So that's my wins. So just the two.
That sounds cool. I'm excited. To know your findings on the new APIs from React.
I'll try not to leave you in suspense.
Oh, I've been waiting to make that joke since suspense was talked about, and so is everyone else.
I know. I'm sure everyone is already tired of it.
Yeah, everyone's tired of it. Should we move on to our topic?
We should.
Okay.
Do you have a segue this week? We've been pretty consistent with the segues.
Yeah. Speaking of stacking up with React APIs.
Oh, yeah, it's passable.
Yeah.
All right, just do it.
We're talking about tech stacks.
Woo!
What about tech stacks? Just in general, I don't know.
What are we talking about?
We had some questions. I made some questions for us to answer about like technologies that we use and have used and stuff.
Is this an interview episode?
It could be.
Yeah, except for instead of a guest, we
suck.
No one wants to each other.
No one wants to be our guest.
It's true. I don't blame them.
It's like, hey, do you want to step into Keith's small office and huddle around one microphone with a box in your face? And do you want to be pressed cheek to cheek with us and potentially lips to lips? Because that's what we do. And then everyone doesn't reply to us.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
It sounds like such an inviting offer.
If you want to be a guest on the Friday Night Deploys, you need to press your lips tightly against Keith and Phil.
Listen, and it's not even that small of an office.
No, it's actually, it's a nice size. It's a bedroom. All right, well, let's get to the first question, because I know everyone's itching for the questions now that I've said that.
They found out it's an interview, and they're like, oh boy, I'm so ready for some questions.
I love interviews. It's the favorite thing for every developer.
In my top 3 favorite things, it's top 10s.
I love being interviewed.
Interviews, and of course, carpool karaoke with James Corden.
Yes, that's it. We should get James Corden as a guest. I know he's listening. James Corden, can you be the guest for our show? Episode 4. So, I'm going to ask you the question first, because why not? And you can ask it back to me.
All right.
Keith.
That's me.
What was the first language or framework you were introduced to?
Ding, 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 ding. That's my buzzer.
That's your buzzer.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm buzzing in
to
answer this question. It was Turing.
Sorry, what?
Turing.
Like touring?
Turing.
Like T-O-U-R?
No.
Like the Grand Tour?
Yes. No.
Spell it out. How's it spelled?
It's Turing.
Okay.
Like Alan Turing.
Okay, so Turing,
Like Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie where he played Alan Turing.
Okay.
The Imitation Game.
So is that a language or is that a framework?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I was just trying to provide you with important.
Comedy.
important.
There's no room for comedy in an interview.
Yes, that's fair. It was a really funny joke. I'm sure the audience are in stitches right now.
Yeah.
Turing, and it was a language.
It was a language.
Sorry, I was checking Facebook notifications that were popping up on my screen. We take this podcast very seriously, as you can tell.
He's on his phone like half the time.
Yeah, it's true. Just Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Kids still use Snapchat, right?
I think so. Yeah, actually they do. I think it's more Instagram these days.
Just make up your mind.
Yeah, I know.
Youth. Yes, sorry, Turing. It was a language, and I believe it was based on Pascal.
Yeah.
I think it was based on Pascal. Don't quote me on that.
What is Pascal? Just give a quick summary.
Yep. It's a language.
It's a language. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Yeah.
This is an interview.
Thanks. I didn't prep for any of these questions. So it was, like I said, this was in grade 10, so I think that was like 19 years ago for me now, or something like that. 17 years ago.
He's being generous. He's actually been like 27 or 35 years. Keeps ancient.
27 or 35.
Yeah,
Nowhere
one
in
of
between,
the other ones.
just one of those two numbers. It was like my grade 10 computer science class. I did air quotes there because, like, I don't know, it was just a bunch of kids dicking around on computers.
Yeah, that's what I did.
So I ended up actually looking this up a couple years ago because I thought about it and I was just like, what the hell did I learn in high school? And so apparently it was a really popular language to teach in the Ontario school curriculum for computer science. I don't know how long that ran for, like how long it was in the curriculum, but I wasn't the only one who learned it. It was a real hot commodity. I don't remember anything about it. Again, it was either 27 or 35 years ago. But I do remember that I made a bingo game.
Ooh,
because our final assignment was to make a game, and I made bingo, which I'm not sure if you know the rules of bingo.
I don't.
There's very little gameplay involved. They basically call out a number, and you have a little sheet.
I'm sorry, Keith. I do know how bingo works.
Okay. Wow. Thanks.
I didn't know you would go that granular.
Either way, there's not a lot of gameplay element to it. You stamp a card, and of course, since this is on a computer, there's no card to stamp. It just stamped for you, so you just watched the gameplay itself.
It's all automated. It's the future. You were ahead of his time.
Yeah, and there was 2-player mode.
Oh.
Yeah, added a second card, and one of your friends could watch their card.
I guess that's 2-player. You can both watch your own card.
Yeah, and I remember I had little Easter eggs, so depending on the name you filled in, something would happen.
I bet they were the most mature Easter eggs.
Throwing back to the new metal comment from earlier, if you entered the name, I can't remember. It was some kind of Linkin Park reference. It was either Linkin Park or it was In the End. And then the MIDI for the piano part for In the End would play, and then the game would start. So
that's great. That's pretty cool.
I was really popular in high school.
Yeah, it sounds like you were. I bet everyone was like, "Oh, that's Keith, the bingo player maker." Do you guys want to play Keith's bingo touring app after school?
Yeah, they did.
I bet everyone did.
I had so many girlfriends.
I'm surprised I didn't see a GameSpot review about bingo.
Well, it's not too late. It's time for a reboot.
If someone from GameSpot is listening, it's not too late.
Yeah, I'm gonna reboot it. I'm gonna find Turing somewhere.
You should make Turing JS.
Yeah, that's what the world is missing. Yeah. Definitely. Anyways, enough about Turing. Phil, what was the first language or framework that you were introduced to?
The first language I was introduced to was VB.
Is that an STI?
Nope. It does sound like one, though.
I know what VB is.
Yeah. No, Visual Basic is the actual term, but everyone shorts it to VB. And I also learned that in high school, which is
Grade
funny
10?
because so what that means they must have changed. Or at least my school was like Turing, bunch of casuals. We're gonna learn some Visual Basic. And I don't know if that was Ontario wide or if that was just the specific school or teacher I had.
Maybe Turing had a very expensive license.
Maybe, and I don't know what Visual Basics is. Probably not much or at all. But and we use Visual Basic with Windows Forms, so that was interesting. I mean, the good thing about Windows Forms is that it's, compared to other things like Java, where making a GUI can. Sorry, excuse my language. GUI.
Now I'm gonna make this podcast explicit.
Yeah. An UI GUI apparently can be a pain in the ass with other languages like Java or something. So at least with Windows Forms, it was all pretty easy. It was like a drag and drop of like you just drop a window, you drop a button at a text box, and you give it like a property name, and there's a bunch of other options you can give it to do certain things, and then you just reference those in your code files, and you can attach code to specific items as well.
I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time taking you seriously when you're trying to upsell Windows Forms.
I'm saying we should bring Windows Forms back, but it should be with React.
Yes,
How can I put React in this?
That's true.
JSX Windows Forms.
It's the next logical place.
Windows Forms.js. We can do it.
You know what?
That could be a UI library like that.
Yeah,
we should do that.
No one steal the idea.
I think someone already did, didn't they? Didn't someone already make like a Windows 95?
Yeah, but it might not be specifically Windows
Okay,
Forms.
we'll do XP then.
Okay.
Because XP needs to come back.
We can build the wizard because like every good app had a wizard for installation.
Definitely. But yeah, nothing against VB. I don't know anything anymore of it. It was a weird one because I don't think there's as many semicolons or like brackets or anything. It's a lot of just spacing or white space.
Did you make a bingo game?
No, I didn't make a bingo game.
Oh,
I made what I did as opposed to just making like the fun calculators that you make. I did make a little like paint app that you could choose colors from, and there was one color that was a rainbow color that changed colors as you drew around it. And that was probably the most like advanced we got, which I mean, like looking back at it, that's not bad. I don't know where to start.
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, I don't know where to start now. I was going to make a Paint app in JavaScript or React or something. So
well, once we make Windows Forms.js,
we can do it. All right.
Good answering.
Next question.
Also, I noticed you didn't ring your buzzer to answer the question, so that invalidates everything you just said.
Sorry, I lost a point.
Yeah. We're pointing this. I don't know how the score works, but...
Yeah, I thought it was an interview.
All right, I'm ready for the next question. What you got for me?
What was the first language or framework that worked well for you?
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yes, Keith. Yes, please.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is like one that, that you got really comfortable with, I guess. The first one that you were like, oh, I see how this works. And then you were actually able to build something that wasn't Hello World. Or you got you out of tutorial hell.
I would have to say that this might surprise you. That's a perfect clickbait title.
This one will surprise you.
So I think the first language that really stuck for me was SQL. Specifically, MySQL, if we're talking specific engine here.
Yeah, I would agree with that one at least. At least.
And it was, like, I think, did we take it first semester college? Or was it second semester?
It might have been the second one.
Might have been second semester.
I can't remember, though.
It's been so long. It's been either 17 or 25 years.
Yeah. Or 35. I don't know.
35, that was the one.
Yeah.
Like, I struggled through first year of college.
I did
like, my
too.
grades were fine, but, like, picking up on the concepts, like, I feel as though I had to work a lot harder than everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, my grades were fine, too, but I also didn't learn anything in the first thing either. A little bit of a flaw there with the grade system, I guess.
Yeah, I powered through it, and I came out the other side being like, how do I...
I think I'm a developer?
Yeah, pretty much. And actually, I guess that's what the co-ops were for, was to get that working experience, and I felt like way more confident after that. But in the first year, obviously, we didn't have co-op at that point, so I was just constantly throwing myself into brick walls, literally.
Yeah.
So when I went into relational databases, I was like, oh god, here we go again. Another struggle fest.
Databases are scary.
Database is more like...
Laterbase. Oh!
Sure.
Yeah.
That was better than whatever I had, so we'll keep it. I won't cut that.
That's how we work.
But to my surprise, when we started going through the material, like, for whatever reason, like, none of the other classes I had taken, like, the concepts never clicked for me. Coming out of the other side of that class, I was like, I don't know what I learned. I can't put what I learned to use because I don't get it. But with databases and MySQL, I was like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind. Like,
Everyone's gonna get that.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's relevant, right?
Yeah, just
That
assume it's
movie
good.
came out in like 2001 or something. But yeah, no, like everything just made sense. I could just visualize the concepts in my head of just how to lay out a database and the tables and the relationships and joining and all of that fun stuff.
so
I mean, it was like beginners at that point.
So
but
that might be the most surprising part about it, because I mean, when you say like MySQL or SQL, like the language itself is pretty. It's pretty nice in the fact that it's very, I guess, descriptive, or it's very like it's like English. It's
yeah,
it's like
very
writing
declarative.
a yeah.
It's
There we go.
A lot of just expressions.
Yeah, and it's you write down like almost something close to like a sentence, and it will do something for you, and it's you can see the context of what it's doing. But when you talk about like kind of like getting the relationships and the joins between tables, that was the most surprising part, because I myself had a very terrible time getting my head around the joins specifically, like deleting a table, making a table, inserting into it and stuff. That's easy, but it was the joins that really messed me up.
Well, and there's so many of them.
Yeah, there's an inner join, there's an outer join,
Left joins,
left
outer
join? Yeah,
joins,
it's-
Cartesian joins.
and maybe it was the class, but I was like, why though?
Yeah, I actually got 100% on my final exam.
Ooh.
Yeah. I came in dressed in a cheetah print vest and shiny gold sunglasses.
Oh, but that's really why you got the 100%.
That was it.
Yeah,
That was my
wasn't-
lucky cheetah print vest.
You didn't even sit down and write anything. You walked in and then you were like, hey.
Give me 100%.
Like,
And they're like, this guy is terrifying.
well,
We
Jesus.
better give him 100%.
Oh, it's a cheetah. Sure.
The teacher had just taken a lot of mushrooms that day. He's like, man, this cheetah's talking to me.
Yo, it's the Cheeto guy.
His name is Chester.
Hey. Sorry. Whoa, it's Chester from the Cheetos. Hey, man. Just want to come in and say you owe me 100%.
On this database exam.
Sure thing, Chester.
That's actually exactly what happened. Oh boy. Yeah.
That's
So
cool,
that's it.
though.
Yeah. So,
You have a way more interesting answer than I do.
is this you prompting me to ask you the question?
Well, unless you're not finished.
No, I'm done.
Okay. Yes, prompt me.
Okay. So, oh god, what was it again? Hold on. What language / frameworks? Oh,
There was
nope.
no S.
Sorry, I was reading the wrong question. Wait, this isn't scripted. No, it's not. What was the first language / framework? Oh god.
Come on.
Is that
You can do it.
All right, that worked well for you.
Yeah.
Got
There we
it.
go. We got it.
It only took 10 minutes of this podcast, but I was able to get the question out.
Yeah. Mine is Snorville. Mine is React and JavaScript.
Boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
What a cop-out answer.
But it really was. I had a lot of trouble in school kind of wrapping my head around programming, and that I now know after many years why that was actually the case. And it's because we were learning something called object-oriented programming, which for some reason I just couldn't really wrap my head around, like the reasons of, well, I don't know, I could understand certain concepts, but like in practice or practical use, I could never really find ways to actually take advantage of it, or like, I don't know, I always felt like I was never understanding why we were doing certain things. And so I could never really understand how all these pieces ended up with an actual working application. I never knew like what was going on. And that was me learning like Java and ActionScript. And then when I got my first actual developer job, I was hired under the assumption that I was like this JavaScript whiz, even though I had specifically stated in my interview or my resumes that I did not know Java. It was my weakest language, but I was very willing to learn it, and I had claimed that I had done some Node.js without really even knowing JavaScript too much in school, that maybe I could quickly pick it back up. So like I kind of went on this dark path where I really just like forced JavaScript into my blood as I start this new job.
You just shot up.
Yeah. juiced up.
Cooked some
Yeah.
JS on a spoon and injected it right into your veins.
And I think maybe the luckiest part about that was that it just worked really well for me. That I took that everything in as it was coming and was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I was able to like go into work and then like use those things I had learned like directly, or like it felt like every week I was like picking up something new and able to like show it off or implement it, which felt really great. And that was both on the server side and the client side, because we were using Node.js, and we had some websites that used vanilla JavaScript to augment some pieces, and we had jQuery too. And then so once I knew enough JavaScript, I had previously been scared away from jQuery, and then I was able to actually understand jQuery, understanding, chaining methods in JavaScript.
Shout out to jQuery.
Shout out to jQuery, the
They
old
had
trusty.
it right. They put dollar signs everywhere, and that's what I'm about.
That's what I'm about.
I need more dollar signs in my life.
Well, you can go to PHP, sir.
I shouldn't say that. No, PHP has its merits.
It has its merits, but it's not for us.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, sorry, it's not for me. Is it for you?
Probably not.
Probably not, yeah. But it's a good point. I should speak for myself. But yeah, so like JavaScript, and then React is when it really kind of all really came together of like, this is a really cool way to build UI, or it sunk in well for me. State and props.
Yeah. Fun fact, Phil only started learning React last week, so
Yeah,
this is the first
yeah.
time he's ever
I
been
was
able
like-
to program.
I picked up Gatsby and I was like, wow, and I was like, what's React? I thought I had to react to it.
Yeah, I thought React was a channel on YouTube.
Yeah, it's weird.
Shout out to Kids React to the Dev Plebs coming soon.
Coming soon. These guys suck.
That's it.
That's it.
It's just a 10-second video.
Kids hate Friday Night Deploys. Yeah, that's probably me for that. That's my answer for that question, I think.
Well, that was a good answer. I liked it.
Thank you.
And you do bring up a good point, though. Is like there are very different programming paradigms out there, and I also started with object-oriented and OOP. I should say OOP.
More like oops.
Wow. If Alan Kay is listening, he's going to be very upset.
Sorry, Alan.
Yeah,
K.
he's the founder of object-oriented programming.
Yeah, but does he
know?
Oh, no,
But does
I
he
didn't
know what
that.
kids like about Cinnamon Toast Crunch? I don't know. So, again, I also kind of struggled with the concepts of OOP. And, like, probably because school presented it in a weird way. Like, I explicitly remember one time we had to make, like, a banking app. And, like, one of the classes we made was user. And, like, I don't know. Again, this was, like, first year, so don't judge me. But I was just like, why are we creating the user of our app?
Yeah.
It's like, are we simulating just, like, a user using our banking app?
No, I had
But
a similar thing too.
they didn't explain it well. They didn't explain the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming.
No, and they also didn't explain that it is one of the paradigms of programming or something. They list it in such a way that it's like that is the way that everyone programs. That's like the correct terms to programming is object-oriented programming, and that leads everyone to write on their resumes that I know object-oriented programming, which is misleading.
Because I don't know anything.
Because I don't know
I
object-oriented
put
programming.
Ruby on Rails on my first resume. I'd never touched it in my life. I don't know why I put it there.
It's like when you read a resume and it's like my programming language. I like programming languages such as HTML, CSS,
And OOP.
and OOP. And it's like, what? Sorry, what?
That being said, like, OOP works for a lot of people. It just, again, for you and for me,
Yeah, it didn't work for me. And I think most of game development. Not that I'm a game developer, but I'm
you're speaking on behalf of them.
every tutorial that I've done, every Unity tutorial or something has always been around like creating objects, like and object classes and attributes. And
Although I
stuff.
think that works really well for a game.
It seems like it would make more sense for a video game.
Because you can kind of reduce everything in a game to different objects.
Yeah.
For real life, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, for a specific application, it doesn't make sense. Like with the examples you get in learning object-oriented programming is like, here's an animal, and then you can create a dog from an animal and a cat from an animal, and they can have different things, but they also share same things. Whereas in a banking app, you don't make a dog or an animal. So it was like, oh, I don't know how to make use of this.
Shout out to polymorphism.
Yeah,
All right. Is that sufficient?
I think that's good.
Yeah, you still didn't ring in, but that's fine.
I'm never gonna ring in.
Yeah, I just want to make this a thing.
I'm a real bad boy. Question 3. What languages and frameworks are you currently comfortable with today?
Just touring.
Just touring. Came back.
Yeah. Just bingo apps. Well, I think, I've worked with a lot of different... that sounds so full of myself.
I've been around the block, if you know what I mean.
I worked for an agency, so, I worked with whatever I had to. They're like, this is the project. You're a React Native developer now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
Ha.
I'd say the ones that I'm most comfortable with, though, and not just, a passing project that I had to do and then made it work.
And then forgot about it.
I'd say I'm pretty comfortable with JavaScript and the ecosystem around JavaScript.
Yeah.
Everywhere that we've been putting it. Shove it in every nook and cranny.
Yeah, it's got to be everywhere.
That's why it works so well for me, because I'm too lazy to learn anything else.
And it's everywhere. You don't have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Just make everything JavaScript. I wish my wife was JavaScript.
I wish my children were JavaScript.
That's weird. Yeah, just anything based around that ecosystem, front end or back end. I've worked extensively with both. Some cloud-based technologies. I've done a lot with AWS and GCP. There's a lot of acronyms.
Yeah, that is just what development is. It's just a bunch of acronyms.
Yeah, words are hard.
Yeah, so we just shorten everything.
Reduce everything to letters.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That feels like a cop-out answer, too. And not very exciting. No opportunity for jokes.
Nope.
So you should write these questions better next time.
JavaScript, more like Java.
Yeah, I'm cutting that. Thank goodness we have the editing process to go through.
That was me vomiting.
Yes. So right back at you. What languages / frameworks are you most comfortable
I
with currently?
unfortunately have almost the very same boring answer as you, and that I wouldn't say it's more React than JavaScript that I'm more currently comfortable with. Not to say that I'm not comfortable with JavaScript, but React, I like JSX a lot. And I like the way React does stuff. I like the support the library seems to have.
I like the way it does stuff.
I like the way it does things.
You're so technical.
I know. This is a very technical podcast.
I love the way you use words.
Those
are good words.
Good words. Oh, those are some good words. I just like the way. I guess
The way it makes you feel.
I like the way it makes me feel. The way it moves on the floor. Baby, I like it. But I don't know. And ever since I've started using React and the updates that they keep bringing out for it, all the new APIs they bring out, it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to use that. And
I love declarative UI.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I definitely said that. I love declarative UI.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Hooks are great.
Hooks are great.
The movie Hook is great.
When they came out with the context, I like the context stuff, kind of. I mean, it had its downsides, but it was good. I liked it. When class components first came out, I was a fan, and now I've come full circle. And I'm now no longer a fan of class components, mainly just because of the improvements they've made to functional components. Thanks, Hooks. Thanks, Dan Abramov. Danny boy. I know there's actually a Facebook team. Not to give all the credit to Dan Abramov, but I think he gets a lot of attention. He's a smart guy.
He does get attention. Mm-hmm. I wish I got as much attention. I want engagement.
I like Dan Abramov.
Mr. Dennis.
Mr. Dennis
Abramov-ish.
So yeah, for me. It's just React. And hopefully things keep trucking along for React, or hopefully something else comes out that can scratch that itch again.
Yeah, because if it goes away, you're done for
I'm out of a job. Yeah. Bye.
Back to Forever 21.
I wish they went bankrupt. I think we talked about that in the first episode, didn't we?
This is a Forever 21 podcast.
Sponsored by Forever 21.
All right.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Last question, is it?
Yes, last one.
Thank God.
Well, you don't be too happy. You're definitely not getting the job now. What languages or frameworks did you have a bad experience with?
A bad experience with?
Yes.
All right. Well, I will preface this by saying I think there is merits and value to every language and framework out there.
Oh, what a cop-out.
Wow. Okay. And I don't want to disparage anyone because my decisions don't align with theirs.
It's a good point. These are personal experiences with something, and it could be the specific application structures or business decisions around it. So it's not entirely up to the framework or language.
And it could be
But
that,
it also can't be.
that a bunch of devs that use that language beat me up.
Yes, that too.
And it just
And then Keith is right out to attack
and I
them with
just
the
and I
language.
just conflate the fact that they beat me up with the language that they programmed
Are you
in.
saying that Pearl killed your parents?
Pearl did kill my parents. Thanks for bringing that up.
I'm sorry,
It's a very
Keith. I didn't know that actually happened. I didn't know that
topic.
actually happened.
Yeah, that was just a crazy coincidence.
So sorry.
And for me, that was C#, specifically MVC5. And it was a project that I worked on really early in my career. And I never really had to mess around with it too much because I was specifically doing front end. So I was just screwing around with jQuery. Every now and then I did have to go into the back end. And let me tell you, I had no idea what was going on.
Never go to the back end.
The back end is a scary place.
Scary place. Don't go there.
The lead developer on the project was a very brilliant C# developer. And he had I don't know, he wrote all of this. It's hard for me to explain because I didn't know what I was looking at. It was like art. It was like abstract art and it's a big painting in a museum and there's a group of 25 people gathered around it and they're all staring at it and they're like, oh my God, it's so deep. It's so reflective of our generation. And then I look at it and it's just a bunch of squares and I'm just like,
And you take a big old doo-doo on it.
It's that's probably really nice. I don't get it, but that's what it was like for me.
Yeah.
Walking into that. So I felt really bad every time that I had to do something like create a view bag.
Create the good old view bag.
That's all I knew how to do was just shove stuff in a view bag. Because I was doing, Razor templating on the front end. So that was it was my bridge, my very light experience with the framework. And yeah, because so I did have to write some functions sometimes, and it was probably just a big mangled mess. And I'm sure that my coworkers were just really disappointed by this raw sewage I was pouring over their beautifully crafted.
Keith. Oh, Keith. That was the comment on the code reviews.
It was.
Ugh, Keith.
And for me, the reason why it was a negative experience is because I went in every now and then.
The back end.
I had to get in the back end. And at that point, I had lost all the context of everything they were doing. So it was just a really overwhelming thing for me every time I had to deal with it. And the further the project progressed, the less context I had and the dumber I eventually felt. And then especially coming from JavaScript into a statically typed language, I was like, how do I even make an array? And so, I mean, again, it's not knocking .NET or anything. I don't know. I got dumped into the deep end and I never got to learn it properly. And I'm sure there's great things you can do with it, but I did not do great things.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep, that's it.
All right, do you want to hear my bad experience?
Do you want me to present it in question form first?
Yes, please.
What languages/frameworks have you had a bad experience with?
I had a really bad experience with something. I had a really bad experience with a platform specifically called Magento 2. And in a similar way, I was dumped into it, except for I had a difference where there was no artisan before me to create these magnificent pieces of art for me to mess up and take doo-doos on. Instead, I was just given this platform of so you're the Magento developer now. Get ready. It should be easy. And I don't want to knock Magento 2 too much, but I don't think it can be a pretty masterpiece. And I say that with confidence that other Magento developers might agree with me, as Magento 2 was a fairly newer thing when I was dumped into it. And being a JavaScript developer, it's a framework that's built with PHP, so very different. Magento 1 was more popular than Magento 2, I think. Some people even just went back from Magento 2 to Magento 1 because it just worked better for them. And so I had a very terrible time with it. I didn't have time to learn it, and when I did get given time eventually to try and learn it, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. There weren't enough resources out there online. They had their own documentation, but it didn't really go into detail about how things necessarily worked or how to build a plugin or a theme. And that was kind of the core of what they tried to do. They really there were some really good intentions with Magento 2, I think. They really tried to push that kind of like WordPressy ecosystem and look and feel and stuff. And, you know, it worked really well from WordPress, I think.
It was also really slow.
That was one of the biggest problems. And the most biggest complaints that came out of it were that it just needed a ton of resources to run at any kind of speed. And Magento 1 didn't have that problem. So there was really there was this big need for resources with like not really any improvement or reason to why. It was just tell me, hey, you just need 6 gigs of RAM to run this. And it's like, well, no one can run this locally then. Or no one can, how are we going to charge us so much money to host this platform? And that's a very hard thing to sell when you're competing against another platform that uses an e-commerce platform like Shopify, for instance. I don't know if Shopify is open source or not, but Magento 2 is, to its credit, open source. And that's a shame in the sense that there's probably a lot of people who've put a lot of work into that thing. And that it just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it has enough of it's not going to have a good fight.
Share.
It's not going to have a good fight. It's not going to have market share. There are themes and plugins people are building out there. And God bless those people.
Thanks for keeping the dream alive.
Because as far as I'm aware, like it's a lot of XML files, a lot of PHP files, and it's a lot of complicated stuff. And it almost seems like they initially brought out Magento 2 and then like it was so far behind in concept and what they were trying to do. They were quickly trying to adapt to better ways of doing things to the point where like if you were making themes or plugins, you had to constantly keep deprecating and changing your stuff in it for the better, but it was really quick. Like imagine if like React 15, 16, and like 16.8 or 7 was like hooks. Imagine if that all happened in the course of like 3 or 4 months. So like it seems like they're really trying to course correct things. They even course corrected to the point of like just releasing a way to run Magento without using Magento's front end anymore. Like you just release like a JavaScript application, like a React application or something that has PWA support, progressive web apps, and then just use their REST API. I think it's just too late. I think the back end part of it is just too bulky and big that I don't know if it's going to be able to compete with Shopify, which is a shame because I think it has its merits. But I had a terrible experience with it trying to learn it. Yeah, it just kept making me think like, why am I not getting this? I should understand this. I've been working on web development for X amount of years now. Why am I not getting this? Am I stupid? And I think it was just the way it is. I think it was a lot of dependency injection, and it was a PHP which I was not familiar with, and then on top of that there were likely standards and patterns that were maybe specific to Magento and how they were doing it. And there was no mentor to guide me, and there was no straight tutorial guide to follow that was reliable to be like, this is how it's done.
What a sad story you have weaved for us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome.
This is Magento 2 Anonymous.
Magento 2 Anonymous. Yeah, if there's anyone out there who has not had a terrible experience with Magento or has had a terrible experience like myself with Magento, please let me know. I'm curious.
Solidarity.
Yeah.
I worked a little bit with it.
Yeah.
Like a very tiny bit.
You got pulled into it.
A little bit. But that was in the past.
And now
I'm looking towards brighter futures.
Suspense APIs and concurrent modes.
Yes. And windowsforms.js.
Yes. Hell yes.
Also, I've made the executive decision that I'm going to have another clickbaity title for this episode. I'm thinking the top languages to learn in 2020. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, learn whatever you want.
Yeah. Learn whatever you want. Find what works well for you and then go for that. I used to obsess over being T-shaped for a small period of time. And that was kind of like specializing in one thing and knowing good amounts of things about other stuff. And it stressed me out that nothing else was sticking to me as well as the thing like JavaScript or React. It just wasn't sticking as well.
Yeah, because I see a lot of new developers coming in and they're trying to learn everything at once. And that makes things way more difficult. Yeah. Like learn and understand like one domain at a time. Like if you try and immediately jump into like full stack and try and learn all of the layers and like hosting it in cloud and like hitting Lambda functions, like that's going to be way too overwhelming to start with. And if you just take it like one step at a time, you're going to have a much better experience.
Yeah, and maybe that's some job postings for trying to require like every single technology that exists in the world. Because yeah, you don't need to know every single thing.
So sorry for that clickbait title that I'm going to write, but learn whatever you want.
Learn what works for you.
If you don't like JavaScript, don't learn it. There's lots to learn. There's lots of jobs out there. Just find what works best for you. If it's oop, then do some oop.
Do some oop. Oopsie. I did some oop.
Oh, I made an oop.
I made an oop.
T-shirt it.
There we go. I made an oop.
All right. So I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week.
Yeah, one day we'll have the email segment once people email or DM or mention us.
Yeah, one day we'll have a website.
But I do have one that I'm going to really just forcefully push in there.
Oh, yes, do it.
So another thing I wanted to kind of tell was like, people, you can DM us or email us or message us for shout outs too if you want. I made a DevToe post when we made the first episode and released it, just kind of highlighting the podcast structure and who we are and stuff like that and why people should listen to it. And someone did comment on it, I think the other day, which I was surprised about because it stopped getting really views on DevToe.
Keep it up. I love it.
I'm gonna keep it up. So yeah, someone commented saying that they love the show. I'll give them a shout out. This is the very first shout out other than Dennis. We'll give Dennis another shout out for the shout out section. And I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm very sorry, but we're very happy that you like the show. Their name is Arturo Cabrera. Keith, it's your turn. Can you?
Yeah, I think it's Arturo Cabrera.
Yeah, he says, because it was addressed to me. So he says, "Hello, Phil. Just wanted to say that totally enjoying the podcast. Keep up the good work, smiley face."
Thank you for thinking we're doing good work.
So thank you so much.
Because this is like, how would you describe our work?
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Off the cuff. I think you already used that in the previous episode, but off the cuff, raw.
Raw. Real.
Real. The real world, and it's silly.
Yes. So thank you for your kind words.
Yes, it really keeps us going.
I will not cry myself to sleep tonight.
Thank you so much. And then, second shout out. Can we both remember the name? Dennis
Abramov.
His name wasn't Abramov. It wasn't Abramov.
All right. Shout out to them.
Shout out to Dennis.
Shout out to anyone listening to this podcast. You're my best friend.
Yeah. So if you want to give in a shout out, or if you want to ask a question, if you want to share any of the questions that we covered on this episode,
if you want to receive our Christmas card this year,
that Christmas present that Keith mentioned earlier. So yeah. So you can find us on Twitter.
On DevToe.
On DevToe.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
Or you could follow us home.
Please don't follow me home.
Follow me home if you want.
Yeah. You can find us at DevPlebs. Yeah, do what you want.
Do what you want with us.
Do what you want with us, and then we'll
have your way with us.
Find a way to relay you having a way with us on the next episode.
Episode 4?
Episode 4. Get ready for it. I hope we can get more than 2 shout-outs.
A quadrilogy?
Quadrilogy.
Wow.
Did Lethal Weapon get more than 3 movies?
Yes.
How many of the movies did Lethal Weapon get?
I don't know.
I think it's
enough.
I think there's a TV series called Lethal Weapon now.
There is.
Yeah. So that's probably going to do it for the show.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening.
And see you next week. Next Friday. Be there or
be
dead.
Wow.
All right, bye.
Bye.